Welcome to the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, the show that puts the spotlight on the incredible women who fuel the world of motorsports. From drivers to crew members, engineers to fans, and everyone in between, we're here to celebrate the trailblazers, dreamers, and doers shaping the sport we love. Each episode, we share inspiring stories of females of all ages from every corner of the motorsports universe, past, present, and future. It's a journey through the seasons of life filled with heartfelt moments, laughter, and a whole lot of horsepower. So whether you're a lifelong fan, a racer yourself, or simply curious about the extraordinary women behind the wheel, settle in, relax, and enjoy a fun and uplifting ride with us. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, connecting and celebrating women in motorsports, one story at a time. Let's hit the track. Hello, everyone. This is Melinda Russell with the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. And my guest today is Jacqueline Rumley. I get that out. And Jacqueline, I really want to thank you for coming on and being my guest today. And so first of all, I'd like you to share a little bit about yourself and your family, your pets, whatever you're willing to share so we can get to know you a little better.
Well, thank you for inviting me on the show. So I now currently live in Lexington, North Carolina. I've lived here with my husband now for, 10 years. My husband's name is Kevin. He's a motorsports dirt racing engineer guy. I have 2 cats. I live on High Rock Lake, so it's cool when we're not gone racing. I get to spend time out on the boat and paddleboard and stuff like that. And then for my day job, I work at Rowan-Cabarrus Community College. I'm in the Concord campus, so it's like right 10 minutes from Charlotte Motor Speedway. And I'm in the Motorsports management program. So I teach students kind of like entry level, no, I won't say generic, but entry level motorsports knowledge to work within the industry. So it's a really good leveraging point for people who might not know how to enter the industry or want to gain some basic skills so that they can kind of start in the industry versus not knowing where to start. So it's really cool because that's what originally moved me to North Carolina, was to take this college program. And then now, 15-ish years later, I'm in it as a teacher. So it's been a pretty cool ride. I've been there since 2019.
Okay, that's very cool. And what a great, I would think, fun thing to do.
Yeah, I think it is fun. And I think my students enjoy it. Like I'm like I teach like the cool classes, not like math or, English. They enjoy coming in and seeing me.
And they're taking those classes because they really want to.
Yeah, exactly. Versus they have to. So
yeah, and that makes it so much more enjoyable for you and for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's not jump there. We'll get back to that because I want to know more about what you teach in that. But let's go back to the beginning. Jacqueline, how did you get interested or involved in motorsports from the beginning?
Well, I grew up in southwestern Ontario, Canada, so kind of like an hour from Detroit or so across the border. And so I was born in March, so obviously we're not racing yet because there's snow on the ground. So around, I guess, probably May, 1988, I went to my first track as a kid, as a baby. As soon as the races started, my parents started taking me. My dad was involved in racing, I guess, since his 20s, early 20s. He had friends that raced. He's never raced himself. He was always just mechanic, like Friday, Saturday night, hanging out with your friends, working on the car, and then go hang out to the shop during the week, working on it. And then my mom started getting involved too, like around when they got married. So over the years, she did like the junior fan clubs, and she would write the souvenir programs. Like back when, you'd have to like do it in a typewriter, take it to the copier, get them printed out. So then as I aged, I started helping her with like the junior fan club. And then I eventually started selling souvenir programs. And then at one point around, I guess it was around 2000, it was my parents' 18th wedding anniversary, 20th. My mom bought my dad a race car, but to be car owners. So we started having dirt late models. And then because of that, my parents decided they would start a racing series because there was only one track that raced super late models in our area. So, and there's a bunch of other tracks throughout Ontario that just didn't have late models at the time. So my parents started this little mini series. So it was like 8 to 10 races over the summer. It was called Ontario Dirt Late Model Series. So from 2000 till around 2011 or 12, my parents had that series that traveled to different tracks throughout Ontario. So of course, me as a teenager, I was trucking along, helping however I could. So I helped build the websites back then, did the social media, helped with hospitality. Like my mom, she kind of wore all hats. She was like the pit stewardess. She was the sign up lady. She did everything. And then she would also cook for everybody too. So I would have to help like put out all the food and all that kind of stuff, but it was cool. So because of that, I really liked racing. My other love was animals. So in high school, I got a job at a veterinary clinic, and then I realized real quick that I did not want to do that for multiple reasons. So I was like, well, the other thing I really like is racing. So I had heard about this school down in North Carolina, and I started doing more research, and I'm like, I think I want to go do that. I want to work in racing. So when I was, so I graduated high school in 2006. I actually did my first year of college from home in Canada, and I did it online, which it was still fairly new at the time, doing online college in the early 2000s. Yeah. That way I could work. So I was working like 3 different jobs so I could save the money to move here. So then I moved here and did finish my college program. And yeah, that's kind of like the old history. And then I kind of started my career here. Going forward. So yeah, it's been a fun ride. It's been a lot. Like, I mean, I moved here when I was 19 and didn't know anybody from a small Ontario town. Like I had never even like bought groceries before by myself. Right. And I hear I'm moving to another country and don't know anybody, kind of sheltered. Right. So it was a very good learning experience, not only for like the career side of things, but just like growing up. It was like, wow, I'm an adult now. It's time to figure it out.
And and you know, I know a couple girls that kind of did that. One of my friends moved from California to like the Mooresville, Charlotte area when she was like 18, and you know, I just marvel at that. One, that I'm not sure I could let my daughter move that far away by herself. You know, that would be hard for me as a parent. I would be much more likely to have done that myself than I would have let my daughter.
Right. It's like now thinking about it, I'm like, I'm weary about like, I mean, I'll do stuff by myself, but I'm like, I can't believe I did that when I was so young and so like sheltered. But I think maybe it's because I was so sheltered. I didn't think anything of it.
Yeah. Like, and you know, and you don't know what you don't know. And so you're just like, oh, well, how different can it be? How bad can it be? You know? And so you just jump in with both feet. Promoting a track takes heart. And now showing appreciation can be just as easy. With send-out cards, you can thank sponsors, volunteers, drivers, and fans with personalized digital cards sent right from your phone or laptop. Add a photo, write a message, and hit send. It's that simple. Unlimited sends for just $10 a month. Go to sendoutcards.com/53240. That's sendoutcards.com/53240, because gratitude builds great tracks.
Yeah.
So what were some of the classes? Now, what was the name of the college again?
So it's a community college. So it's named after our counties, right? So it's Rowan-Cabarrus Community College. So that's it's off of like 85 if you've been in North Carolina area. So Salisbury, Kannapolis, and Concord are the areas of the campuses, the cities. So the motorsport specific classes. So it's like I did the associate in applied science. So there's a lot of those like filler classes like math or psychology.
Yes.
Entrepreneurship, like they're all in accounting, like they're helpful classes, but the actual core motorsports courses, there's like an introduction to motorsports marketing, organizational mobility, which is like logistical based, and of course like organizational charts and stuff like that, business. And then there's also technical side. So there's a safety and environment class, there's a chassis handling fundamentals, fabrication fundamentals, and an engine drivetrain class. So it's pretty balanced in terms of learning both like the business and the technical aspect. And like, I didn't really care to learn the technical aspect. I don't really want to work on the cars, but especially now, I see how important it is to learn kind of both sides. Because even if you're on the business side, you're still going to have to be aware of the technical aspects, even if you're just doing bill processing. Like, you have to know what that stuff is.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool because it's well-rounded in terms of both. And then the students can kind of like use that, like what I did. I used my electives to take a little more towards like the marketing courses, like communications and graphic design and stuff like that. But students can also take like welding or machining or stuff like that too. So depends on their interest. So it's pretty cool because it's like it's moldable to whatever they want to do.
That is really cool. And I think, I'm starting to hear a little more about those kinds of programs at different colleges. Because I think they're kind of catching up with the world.
Yeah. In this area, there's, to my knowledge, we're the only 2-year that's both business and technical. And then in this area, there's a couple 4-year business programs. And then there's up in Ohio, UNOH, they have some marketing bachelor's degree, I think now too, but they're mostly the technical stuff.
Right. They're probably the one that most people have heard of. So we like sharing the other schools that are doing.
Yeah, they're allowed to do a lot of marketing and advertising because they're private. This publicly funded schools and stuff, we don't quite have the budget for that.
Yeah, I get that. So I'm glad we're giving them a shout out,
yes,
give them some interest. So when you were younger and you were doing all that traveling with your parents, what was it that you loved about motorsports? Because you were a teenager or younger, and sometimes they want to be out doing other things.
Oh, no, I was a little resentful for a little while.
Okay.
It's kind of funny. It's like something switched when I guess when I decided that I didn't want to go down the veterinary route, like something switched when I was like 15, 16-ish probably. Because like when I was like 12, 13, I'm like, I want to stay at home with my friends this weekend, but my parents are going 8 hours away to this race, so I had to go. So I kind of grew to like it. But I think as I got older, I think I appreciated like especially I think what I still like about it's like the camaraderie about it. Like everybody's friends, everybody hangs out. Like I know they're competitors on the track, but I think I just always have enjoyed the atmosphere. And I think as I've gotten older, I realized like, okay, wait, these are my friends that are traveling with us versus leaving them at home. So I think, that's what I've always enjoyed really is just getting to know different people from other areas, and we all have one interest.
Yeah, I hear that so much. And whether you race or you do other things, it is the people that keeps drawing you to come back. And like you said, you start to realize that those people that you see on the weekends are probably going to be more your long-term friends than those kids you go to high school with.
Exactly. Yeah. Like almost all of my friends are racing friends, and I only see them at the races. So I haven't really been to a race, a big race since like Speed Weeks in February. So I'm like, my friends are scattered Illinois, Indiana, Pennsylvania. So I'm like, I can't wait to go back to the races so I can see my friends again.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we don't get to do things together like birthdays or even weddings and stuff like that because we're always just scattered so much. But when we are together, those are like the true friends, really.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. So now your husband's involved and as well. So you met him through.
I met him through mutual friends through racing when I was already down here. I actually had a friend when I was still in college in this program, and I had a friend who was doing some writing for a racing magazine at the time. I don't even remember the name of it. Maybe Dirt Late Model, but not in business anymore. But she was trying to get her foot in the door with communications and writing. So she was probably writing for free for all I know. But she invited me to a test down at Cherokee Speedway. And my husband was there with his dad and their race team. And Brian Vickers was testing their car to race the Prelude at the Dream in Eldora that year. So that was 2008. I think. So I actually met him through her, but like we were just friends for probably 6-7 years. But yeah, so he went to UNCC for mechanical engineering. So he's a mechanical engineer, and he used to work for a company called Exeldyne. So he did engineering design stuff for NASCAR mostly. And then he quit his job to race dirt racing full time in 2015. But that was the year they raced the Lucas Oil Championship and won. So that was the first time they ever went for a championship, and they won the championship with driver Jonathan Davenport. And since then, he's pretty much been a engineer consultant for different racing businesses. So right now he works for Longhorn Chassis, which is our chassis manufacturer. He designed the chassis, and then also in collaboration with a shop company. So those two companies kind of work together, and those two companies also kind of work with the race team. So we have like the R&D team. So whatever he wants to mess around with setup wise and stuff, we'll try it first and see if it's worth going forward and offering to customers, or like, this one's not going to work.
Yeah. Well, that's good, because racing takes up a lot of time outside of a normal job.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Like, I joke he doesn't have a normal job,
and you work together on that.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, he doesn't have a normal job, but at the same time, he probably works more than people that have a normal job.
Right.
Because some people be like, what do you do? Like, if we're home on the weekend, like, people are like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, Kevin's at the shop working. So, I mean, it's just like any other day. If it's a Saturday or a Sunday, he gets up and goes to the shop. If he's not down at Longhorn or Bilstein type thing. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but I mean, it's our life, right? It's our personal life, our work life. It's kind of everything. So for us, it's just our normal.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just like you said, on the weekends, it's just another day. And because you might have to go somewhere during the week, and when you do work for yourself, like he does, you do work more hours because you have to do it all.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, you don't have somebody else to micromanage or to tell them what to do or whatever. And if knowing him, he would just rather do it himself anyway.
A lot of men are like that. So I get that. And women too. So
his communication doesn't always come out properly. So he might as well just do it himself. It would take him longer to explain.
See, that's it. And sometimes, you think about that, and I'm kind of one of those that I just as soon sometimes do it myself too. And because it just seems faster. But then when you think about it, if I took the time to really explain it and train somebody, it might pay off in the long run. But in the short term, I'm all about, let's get it done.
Yeah. Well, and in his defense too, like, whatever he's always working on is always something different. So by the time you train somebody, he's probably moved on to something else.
Yeah. So, And hands-on, if he's doing testing and things, he wants to be really hands-on himself. So I understand that for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
So what are some of your favorite memories? Do you have like a funny story or any kind of a favorite memories or favorite places that you went while you were traveling or teaching or anything about your racing career?
Like, in terms of, so I'm really lucky because of my job, at least since 2019, I get my summer off, right? So I get to travel with Kevin pretty much all summer. Depending on our racing schedule. The past few years we've raced a lot. This year, not as much, but like every year our favorite event, well, we have kind of two favorite events. The Dream at Eldora is always like the big one in June. And then the Prairie Dirt Classic at Fairbury in July. And we won that twice. We won that in 2015 with Davenport. But I mean, when we won with Kyle Larson in 2021, that was probably like the epitome of winning races and like, what makes it worth it, right? Because like the whole point of racing is winning, right? I mean, the camaraderie is fun too, but the winning is like the cherry on top.
Exactly.
So that's cool because that community is just like, you hear stories about how some towns don't like the racetracks because they're loud or the traffic or whatever. Like, they really
they embrace
it's all about the racetrack. Like, you come into town, it's like welcome race fans on all the signs, like as if it's like a cup race.
Yeah.
So it's like the whole town kind of comes, and it's like you have to leave the car unloaded because all the fans want to come see it till like 4 a.m. kind of thing. Like it's our favorite event of the year. We're going to be racing it this year again too. So yeah, like it's not necessarily one event, like that one event sticks out, but I mean, we've gone for probably almost 10 years now, every July. So that's kind of the fun one. Like, I still love the Dream at Eldora, but it's something about the community at Fairbury that's like, it sticks out a little more just because it's a little more close knit. It's a smaller facility. It's pretty awesome.
I've heard a lot of things about that race, and I haven't ever been there, but honestly, it wouldn't be all that far. I live in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
It wouldn't be. My parents come. My parents usually come from Ontario to come watch it too.
Yeah. So I need to get that on the calendar because I've just heard so many good things. And I had somebody tell me one time, I park in the same guy's yard every year.
And they probably cook out together.
They do.
Like, you just see people that you only see once a year there. And like, there's some people like they just go to that track. Like, a lot of the people I know, like our racing people, like we travel from place to place. But that Fairbury, sometimes it's those people just go to that place like weekly or whatever, or only for that event. That's the only thing they do a year.
Yeah.
That's how much it's important to them.
Right. And like you said, that town probably quadruples in size on racing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like, I want you to come, but make sure you have your seating figured out before you go, because that sells out, and then you'll be standing room only, and there's not really anywhere to stand because the banking's so high, so you can't really see. So for some first timers, I feel like it probably can be a little miserable if they don't plan it out accordingly. Because there's a lot of people and not a lot of space. So
Yeah.
you just kind of have to have it figured out before you go.
You got to plan early so that you have all that taken care of. That's for
Exactly.
sure. And is it in August?
It's usually the last weekend of July. So like July 28th, 29th, something like that.
So it wouldn't be a bit hot or anything there either.
No, it's not too bad.
I used to live in Illinois, and it can get hot and humid.
I mean, it's hot. It's not North Carolina hot, but it's hot.
No, it's not. No, it's not. That's true. It's not North Carolina hot for sure. So before we get into the things about you teaching in that, let's talk a little bit about social media. And you mentioned how there's racetrack communities that don't like the track and are trying to get rid of it. We're dealing with that a little bit at one of the tracks close to me, where just takes one person who's on the board, the county board, to cause a lot of trouble. And, there's so many people that are supporting that track, but there are a lot of tracks that have issues like that and run into that. And so I hate that. But then when you see people like Fairbury, they could show the other towns a thing or two.
Yeah, they can show how it's a positive and brings like an economic boost and all that kind of thing. And I mean, and I know this doesn't mean anything to the people complaining, but like the logical thing is don't move near a racetrack if you don't want to be near a racetrack, right? Like, they didn't just pop up. Like I can almost guarantee most racetracks have been around for a long time.
Yeah, that track's been there a long time.
Exactly.
And the people that live close those houses have been there forever too. It isn't even the people that live there, which is another sad thing. But social media has really been on fire about that track, good and bad. So can you speak to social media a little bit, how you see it from where you sit and what you do?
Yeah, it's definitely good and bad. I mean, there's always going to be that. You kind of have to try to look at the positives, but I mean, you also have to, like as a personal or as a business, like watch what you say too. I mean, you can't just go up there and rant all you want, and then that's a reflection on you or your business or whatever. But at the same time, like I tell my students, like it can be a very helpful thing too. It's a good way to connect with industry, to network, to like showcase your skills. It's all a matter of how it's used, right? And like no matter what, there's going to be negative people. Like even if you do a really cool like video tutorial about something, there's going to be one person that's like, that's not the right way or whatever. And that's just life and you have to ignore it. But I mean, it is like a little disheartening because those people would never say that to your face, right? But
no, that's the thing.
They get this like armor, right, when they're behind the screen. But yeah, it's just a matter of how it's used. I built like a decent following on Twitter, X, and that was mostly from just doing like race updates. But nowadays, I mean, because I've been working on it for probably 15 years since I've had Twitter, right? But nowadays it's like the information's so easily available, like with streaming and my race pass and all those things. So it's like, I don't really tweet as much as I used to. I still have the decent following, but I'm like, that was kind of my niche was race updates. And I'm like, well, I don't really need, everybody already knows. So I've kind of like, I don't know, step back a little bit while I'm concentrating on other things and whatnot. But yeah, it can be used to your advantage and it can also be a negative thing too. It's just a matter of how you handle it really. Because I do see some businesses or some racetracks that will be like, they just go on a rant, like stop bashing us. I'm like, that is so unprofessional.
Yeah, it is. And sometimes the best thing is to do nothing.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's usually the case is what I would say to do. Like you just don't even acknowledge it. Like you can, if you have a rain out and maybe it's ended up being sunny for that day, just sorry, and then move on because they're going to forget about it by next week.
Absolutely. And that's happened to one of my local tracks, a different track, 2 weekends in a row. It's beautiful every day except race day. And that's
and it's not their fault. And at the same time, like, okay, even if it is beautiful come 7 o'clock, if there was a 80% chance of a thunderstorm at 6 o'clock, like as a business, they know that they're not going to get the people in the stands and the competitors. So they're not going to make money. And as a business, you have to make money. So,
right. Well, and it's a Friday, the race is on Friday night. So a lot of racers, if they know they're going to race there, they take off early or whatever they do. And it, they save that. And if they don't have to do that and it's raining, then it makes it better for everybody. I think
I agree.
You play it safe because, I listen to a lot of podcasts and it's not just here in Kalamazoo, it's all over the country. They deal with the same thing with the weather. And so, they have to do the best they can.
Mhm.
and then we just do and move on and let it go. And nobody wants to race more than the guy that owns the track.
Yeah, exactly. They're the ones who want to make money because they have these bills coming in. Yeah, like promoters and series directors, like they have it rough with the weather stuff,
They do.
especially for people like us with traveling. Like if we're supposed to go to Illinois this weekend and it's an 80% chance of rain, we're like, but
I
if it's,
know.
especially if you're like a point series person, right? It's like, well, you got to go. So if they
Right.
get halfway there and have to turn around, I guess that's better than getting all the way there.
Yeah,
But I mean, that's just part of it. That's part of racing. And that's what I think
it
some
is.
fans, I think the competitors understand it,
They
right? Like they're
do.
not the ones on there bashing, right? But I think some of the fans are the ones who just don't
Yeah,
quite get it.
they do. That's exactly right, for sure. She's not here to play it safe. She's here to go full throttle. Go Fast Girls is more than a brand. It's a movement for girls who race hard, dream big, and leave the boys in the dust. Whether you're behind the wheel, throwing dirt on the track, or just living life in the fast lane, Go Fast Girls has the gear that matches your speed. From bold tees and hoodies to hats and accessories, we're built for the girl who's all about horsepower and hustle. Young racers, weekend warriors, or seasoned pros, if you've got drive, you've got a place with us. So throw on your Go Fast Girls gear, tighten that helmet, and show the world what fast really looks like. Shop now at gofastgirls.com. That's gofastgirls.com, where fearless meets fashionable. Go Fast Girls, fueled by passion, driven by girls. So, Jacqueline, tell me now about your job, the things you teach, and all that. I think that's so interesting and so beneficial to the people that listen to this, and especially I have a lot of younger listeners that are maybe you know um, young and then high school and maybe looking at going to college or not in college yet but want to maybe do a second career or
Or
something.
think like college isn't for them because it doesn't sound
Exactly.
fun.
Well, two things. College is not for everybody, and
No.
the cost of going to college
Hmm.
can be prohibitive for a
Oh, for
lot of
sure.
people. And
Hmm.
so they want a career and they want to get a good job, but they also want to do something they love. So that's why I love what your school offers. So tell me
Yeah.
about the program and what you do.
Yeah, not many people know about it because, like I said, like marketing and that kind of thing. Like locally, our marketing is usually just word of mouth. The program has been around for just over 20 years now. So there's a lot of people who have been through the program now, like their kids are at age. So it's like they might not like Bobby's dad might have went to the program, but he's going to tell Bobby's friend about it because Bobby might not want to do the same thing as dad did, right? So I have a lot of people who just know about it through like industry connections,
Hmm.
and that's kind of also how I do the marketing in a way. I try to get the students involved in things where they go and NHRA was just in North Carolina, so go and volunteer and stuff like that. But in terms of the program in general, so there's I think four different methods or pathways we call it to do the program. So the big one is the Associate in Applied Science and Motorsports Management Technology. But then we have two different diplomas. We have a marketing diploma and a management diploma. And then we just have a motorsports certificate. So like the motorsports certificate's just the core motorsports courses and none of the other stuff. So if I have a student who's already been to school and already has like a bachelor's degree in management or business or something, I'm like, just get the certificate because you don't need to take these little accounting classes and stuff because you've already taken them. There's no point in doing double. But the now that you mentioned cost, so the good and the bad thing about being in North Carolina community college is North Carolina residents go for very cheap. Like there's a lot of scholarships and stuff too. And I have like high school students that take my program for free.
Hmm.
I just had two students in last May graduate. They did an extra year of high school, but by doing that, they were called super seniors is what they call them. They also graduated with an associate degree because they were able to do my college courses for free
Nice.
and that counted towards their high school diploma too. So that's awesome. So North Carolina's residents, I think last time I added it up to do the associate degrees around like $5,000 for 2 full years of school. Out of states higher. I think it's probably
Yeah.
closer to 12 to 15.
Yeah.
Which still that's the price of
Reasonable.
one semester at some private schools, right?
Yes.
So it's still pretty reasonable. And then I'll touch on quickly, like when I moved here, I wanted to work in racing and probably marketing or PR or something like that. Never thought I would be a teacher or be in this program. But in 2015, the program chair, which is the person who started the program, who was my mentor, because I mean, like I said, I didn't even know how to buy groceries or where to buy them. So he helped me, like, here's an apartment, go rent this place, go get groceries at this place. I'm like, okay, he was my mentor. He passed away unexpectedly and I was already out of the program. I was working. But I'm like, dang, that's like, he was like the glue, right? The core, because you can't just have like anybody just run this program. You have to be somebody that's like in the industry and knows people and knows how it works. You can't just have some business professor come do it, right? It wouldn't work. So I was at the time deciding like, okay, do I want to go get a master's degree? Because now that I was married, I was able to get in-state tuition rates. So I'm like, heck, I can go get my master's degree for the same price my associate degree cost, because I don't have to pay all these international fees and exchange rate and all that. So his job came up, I don't know, 6 months later, and it required an MBA or a master's level degree. So I decided to go back to school. I didn't apply for the job yet because I wasn't qualified, but I guess they never filled it. So the program did get absorbed by the business department. So it kind of like didn't have that leader. Fast forward to 2000, I guess it was late 2018, the job came up again. And at this point, I was already halfway through my master's. So I applied. I wasn't quite qualified for the program chair job because I've never been in education before, but they called me a few months later. It was like, hey, would you be interested in being an instructor? I'm like, yeah, of course. So I got the job, but basically the whole reason why I did this was because I wanted to continue it for Richmond, because he was such a major part in my life, really, not only my career, but I mean, he's what helped me move here and meet people, and one who told me to go do these internships and volunteer and got me jobs. And like, he didn't get me the job. He just gave me the tools to be able to go get it myself. Right. So that's kind of the whole reason why I'm here. Like, I like the teaching's fun, right? But the mentoring is really what I enjoy. I like helping help the students figure out what they want to do, because like, there's so much you can do in the motorsports industry. Right. A lot of like misconceptions is like, oh, well, I can only be a crew chief or a truck driver or a pit crew guy, right? Like, there's a ton of jobs that it's like its little ecosystem, right? So helping the student decide what they want to do, and then helping them like figure out their classes that will help complement and earning those skills, and then helping match them with internships, volunteer, part-time jobs, whatever, to try to add to their resume to get their foot in the door to get a good job is the most what I enjoy out of it. So that part's fun. So it's like, if I have a student who is like really eager and determined and motivated, like, I'll help them any way I can. And then if I have some students who don't even do their homework, well, it's on them, right?
Exactly. You can only, in any business or any kind of situation like that, you don't have time to help everyone. You have to help the ones that show the interest and want the help.
Right. Yeah, like, I can't beg
waste
them
your time, and then and you can't drag them, to it. So they have to show the first initiative, and then you go from there. And
exactly. And that will show me if like they're worth recommending to somebody I know. Because since I went through the program, I have people I went to school with that now work within the industry, and then I have other people I've met. And it's pretty cool because so I do have a program chair, my boss. He is more on like the upper level, like management of like NASCAR, and he knows all those types of people, versus I know like a lot of like the ground workers, like the shop workers. I know the dirt people. I know a lot of the vendors. So we're a good complement, because he can kind of match people or get us in. Like, we went to a ton of field trips last semester, like 2311, like it had just opened like I think a month before that. Like, I don't know anybody at least that could approve of a tour of that place, right? So we're a good complement, because I know a lot of like the ground workers and he knows a lot of the upper people, so we kind of meet in the middle and kind of provide the students a lot of networking opportunities if they choose to participate.
Yeah, absolutely. And those are priceless.
Yeah. Like, we're going to actually the Curb Museum on Wednesday. So it's kind of interesting, because it's like, he's got this, it's probably 25% of racing. And then he has like the North Carolina Music Hall of Fame over there too. And it's in Kannapolis, it's free, but I have a student who did an internship there and now is working there doing tours. So I'm like, hey, would you give my current students, because he's a past student, my current students a tour. So we're going to go over there Wednesday afternoon. So it's like, they might not meet anybody famous there, but at the same time, like knowing who Mike Curb is and what he's done for the industry and that kind of thing. And you never know who you'll meet while you're there, but at the same time, the more knowledge, the better.
Well, and it can be a talking point at some point, if you meet someone and that might be something you have in common, and you just never
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
The more you can fill yourself with knowledge
Yes.
and that, the better.
Exactly. Yeah, and I like it. I like getting them together because I have a few different classes, so they might not know each other or be in the same class. So
Uh-huh.
by kind of inviting anybody who wants to come from our program, they can meet and mingle, and you never know where that could go either. Because I have so in terms of like my student demographic, I have like high school students, I have like people older than me, I have like a little bit of everything, but then I also have a lot of drivers. So it's cute. So these are like college age young boys mostly. I have a couple girls, but they're like I have some like in Cars to Pro Tour that race and
Yeah.
stuff in like micro sprint and stuff like that. I have one driver who's in the ARCA series, so it's cool because it's like it's a contrast. Okay, they're in school because it's not necessarily they're I don't want to say a backup plan, but kind of a backup plan because their
Well,
parents wanted
yeah.
them to do it. But at the same time, it's still really helpful because if they do like make it right, they'll have that business knowledge to because
Yeah.
they're still a general they're a contractor, right? So they're going to still have to do all their own accounting and do
Yep.
their own driver social medias when they don't have a PR person and stuff like that. So they still
Right.
learn how they can help their own racing program too.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt them to know what it takes, even
Exactly.
if they don't do it themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. Because how can you ask somebody to do something for you if you don't know how to do it yourself, like what we said? Um,
Yeah. Or if
yeah.
you don't even really know what you want,
Yeah.
if you at least have an idea of your social media and what it takes,
Hmm.
and I want to post about this, but not about this, then, you just
Hmm.
have to learn.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
that's a wide variety of
Yeah. And
interesting
then I have
people.
some who've like never even been to a race before, but they've watched it on TV. Their parents aren't interested in it. They might not have the funds or whatever to be able to go to a cup race. So they are like in our county, so they can come like for free if they're first generational or whatever. So like they're just like, I don't even know how to get involved, but I really like watching it. So it's like those are the ones that's like really cool to be like, here,
Yeah,
like come see this race shop, and they're like, wow, like I've never seen this before.
right.
So yeah, it's a wide variety. So it's pretty cool. But like some of the technical classes can be a little challenging because I have some who already know how to like take a car apart. And then I have some who've like never picked up a wrench. So it's like we kind
Yeah.
of like we'll do little breakouts and have like this little group over here in this group because it just
Beginners
different
to
knowledge.
advanced.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how many kids are in the program, would you say?
I would say in the program overall, I would say like I think 30, 35.
Okay.
Yeah, most of my classes are like 8 to 10, which is
Oh,
perfect,
that's
really.
great.
Yeah, because it's a lot of one-on-one. Yeah, so I think, yeah, around 30, 35, because it's hard because sometimes, so I have those core 7 motorsports courses. So there might be a semester where they might have taken 3 of the motorsports courses, and then the next semester they're not in any of mine.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to keep track of them
They
unless
come
they're
and
one of the
go.
ones who does keep in
Mhm.
contact with me, which there are a few.
Yeah.
But sometimes I kind of lose track of them sometimes if I don't have them.
Well, yeah. But that's amazing, and how beneficial that is to all of those. Like you said, you got a kid in ARCA, so they
Hmm.
probably know a little more about the car and different things
Yep.
than some of the others, and I'm sure they probably help each other too, and
Exactly.
because
So that's
that's the
a cool
motorsports
thing.
way.
Because they can kind of help each other if like the instructor's busy helping somebody with very basic stuff, right?
Right.
And like that ARCA student, he actually drives for Rev Racing. So that was our
Okay.
last field trip. So we went there, I don't know,
Yeah.
about 3 weeks ago, and he gave the tour to the students. So it's like it's
Nice.
really cool to be able to incorporate the students like actually in the tour too, versus it's just like a random person giving the tour, right? Because
Well,
you
and
get
then the
like,
other kids can see, hey, he's already in
yeah,
this
yeah.
program, and
Mhm.
it kind of gives them some head up. Hey, this
Well,
is
yeah,
something that's a possibility, or
exactly.
I could be a mechanic on this team, or a
Mhm.
tire changer, or
Well, I
whatever it
have a
might be.
couple who are looking for internships, and I'm like, "Hey, if you're interested, like, let's see if Rev is looking." That'd be a
Right.
great place as an entry level internship where
Yeah.
you can really learn versus like a Hendrick. Like they're a little more
Yeah.
particular, right? They don't
Yeah.
just want somebody who might not know what they're doing in there versus entry
Right.
level like ARCA or trucks. Like, yeah, they'll take anybody who's willing to work, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you have to work your way up, and that's how it
exactly.
is. And
And
so,
that's what I tell them all the time. Like expectations, right? You're not going to get
yeah.
out and go be a crew chief like for
No,
a Cup Series team, right?
no, for sure not. So
Yeah.
what are you going to do this summer then? Your husband travels with who for the
Yeah,
racing, and you'll
our
go along?
our race schedule is kind of little TBA right now. I know we'll go to the Dream at Eldora. I don't know if we'll be racing, and then we're going to race the Prairie Dirt Classic with Hudson O'Neill as of now. I don't really know yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna, I guess, enjoy my lake my house on the lake and hang out with my cats. Hopefully travel. I think we're going to book some non-racing trips, so that will be fun. And then I usually I'll go up to Canada for probably a week and see my family. All my family's still up there, and I have a nephew who races go-karts. So usually I try to plan my trip up there around when he's racing, because he's 13, 14, something like that. 14, I think. So I'll go to my like local little go-kart track, and it's cool because it's like the people I grew up with, kids that now race. So it's like,
that is cool.
The person looks familiar from when I was like 15, but I don't really know. But then I hear the name and I'm like, oh, and then it's like, they have like a 15-year-old now. I'm like, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've been gone for a while. So it's some of the people don't necessarily look familiar, because I only go for basically this week in the summer, and then I go for a couple days at Christmas. So, but that's pretty much it. But it's nice because I have the flexibility to kind of just go do what I want.
That's what I was thinking, that you've got the perfect job
to
be able to go in the summer.
Yeah. Like if we do, because usually if we do the PDC Prairie Dirt Classic at the end of July, and then a lot of the times we'll go straight up to Cedar Lake, Wisconsin, because there's a race right there. So as soon as we're done that, we got to book at home, because I got to start school again.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They start early, don't they?
It goes by quick. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Well, Jacqueline, I've really enjoyed talking to you. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that we should have, or we should have brought out about your story?
I don't think so. I mean, I've done a little bit of everything, because like in between my education and my school stuff, I worked for a events promotions, motorsports type company. So I think that's kind of what helped qualify me for the teaching job, is I did a lot of like car show commercials. I did a lot of stuff with different marketing agencies. So like say Octagon would come to us to make like trophy stands or to fulfill needs of a show car and stuff like that. So I did a lot of that behind the scenes stuff. So that's what also makes me qualified for my job, not just I like racing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm on like I'm kind of into like the apparel and merchandising too. So for my husband's race team, I kind of do a little e-commerce for that. The Longhorn Chassis, I did that for about 7 years, their apparel. They got bought out, and then they transitioned to wanting to sell on the road and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't want to work in a trailer.
No.
So I transitioned out of doing that. And then I guess the last thing is Kevin, husband, being an engineer. I saw there was a need for like a new dirt late model die cast. So he kind of helped me design one.
Nice.
And we partnered with Lionel Racing. So that's the company who does all the Cup Series and all NASCAR. So that's cool. I have actually I have one over here on display. So this was our first one. So
nice.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about it, because it's like, it looks like a legit car.
It sure does.
Got like body skew and everything. So that's been my little pet project lately, has been this thing, trying to get it up and running. I have a bunch of cars I'm going to have to start sitting there and sticker in here soon, but putting in that work to kind of get them established and get them out there. So that was pretty cool that Lionel took a chance on me to do that, because most of their business is like really high up there. And to take a chance on a little dirt late model is pretty cool. So that's been my little project. So that'll be my summer.
Lots of fans. There's lots of fans that like dirt late models. So
yes. So that's what I had to tell them to convince them to do it. So my summer will be probably doing these.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Jacqueline, I hope you have a great summer. Now you're still teaching right now, but you're probably going to be done here soon. 2 more weeks.
2 more weeks.
But who's counting, right? Just 2 more weeks. So I hope you have a great summer, and please stay in touch. And
thank you.
Let me know what's up and what's new. And I can't keep track of everybody, but if you reach out to me, that's the best way. So I've appreciated being able to share your story and talk to you, because I like sharing stories of people other than the drivers. Lots of drivers.
A lot of us behind the scenes, right?
Lots of people behind the scenes. And I think that's, again, the word we need to get out. You don't have to be the driver. There's a lot of other opportunities. And so
absolutely. Yep. Yeah. There are.
Well, thanks again for being on, and you have a good rest of your week. And hopefully I'll see you at the track somewhere.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's it for this episode of the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. We hope you've been inspired by the stories I shared today and feel more connected to the amazing community of women in motorsports. Remember, whether you're behind the wheel, in the pits, or cheering from the stands, your story matters. And together, we're driving change and celebrating every milestone. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who loves motorsports as much as you do. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for updates, behind the scenes content, and more incredible stories. So until next time, stay inspired, stay connected, and keep racing through life. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, where every woman's story is worth celebrating.